Hello, welcome to Network. My name is Pumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you'd ever get an electric vehicle in South Africa, especially as we're dealing with power cuts and as Apple is scaling back on its EV project. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Here's what's coming up in this particular episode. The Innovation Festival is back and we were there. We find out what the Square Kilometer Array is all about, and we chat about data science. The Innovation Festival took place in Durban recently. It was on a hiatus because of the COVID-19 lockdown, but it's back in a physical venue. Here's what's been happening at the Innovation Festival.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa highlighted the important role of science in assisting humanity. He said this in his keynote address at the official opening of Africa's first World Science Forum.
Today, science more than ever is called upon to assist humanity in responding to the key challenges of our time, including disease, climate change, as well as food insecurity. We therefore need to ensure that this forum will not only be a platform for vibrant debate and discussion, but will also lead to concrete actions, suggestions and solutions that harness science as an instrument for social justice.
In adherence to the theme, Science for Social Justice, exhibitors at the event showcased some of their solution-driven innovations.
So we are responsible for developing and designing the mRNA technology, which will eventually be transferred to various spokes in the global south to give them the capability to produce their own vaccines. I think COVID-19 showed us the vast inequalities that exist in vaccine distribution and access in the African continent and in the global south. So the aim of this project was truly to tackle that inequality and to give Africa and low to middle income countries all over the global south the ability to not just have access to vaccines, but to produce their own vaccines and to tackle their own burden of disease.
Coming from the nursing profession, I was coming from a scientific space myself on my own rights. So I was very deliberate in saying we need to find natural organic products that can support our system. Holistic wellness products that can sustain us even before we get diseases. My bottom with the approach of our health today is that we are secondary in our intervention, as if we can't contribute something. Yet rural women always have a primary health solution.
Another keynote speaker, the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Blades Nzimande, emphasized the importance of Africa's role in the future of scientific research.
Most of astronomical insights and findings in future, most of them will be coming from the dishes located in the African continent. And indeed, our continent deserves that. We are the origins of humanity, and therefore we should also cater for the future of humanity by also having insights from astronomy.
The week-long 10th World Science Forum, a first for the African continent, was held at the International Convention Center in the city of Cape Town.
The Square Kilometer Array is a project of satellites that have been put in the Western Cape to do some research work. Now they're scaling up on the Square Kilometer Array, but it seems like a lot of people still don't know what this project is all about. Well, we have some information for you.
South African scientists celebrated a milestone towards building the world's largest radio astronomy instrument, which is co-hosted with Australia and aims to unlock mysteries of the universe. The construction launch in Northern Cape marks the next phase of developing a complex instrument aimed at revealing events since the cosmic dawn, when the first stars and galaxies were formed.
Well, it all begins here at the foundation. This isn't the foundation to your house. This really is an incredibly challenging engineering and set of technical requirements that are needed to ensure all of that optics actually works as required. And so a lot of it, as you saw with the antenna itself, it has this very lovely off-axis Gregorian design, makes it kind of asymmetric, and the balance therefore is a bit tricky. And so the key thing in being able to point at something that is as heavy as these dishes, about 60 tons, is to have a very stable foundation that is not going to shift and move in ways that you can't predict and can't reliably calibrate when you're actually pointing on your sources.
South Africa said it will add 133 dishes to its 64-megahertz radio telescope to create SKA Mid in the next phase of developing a so-called square kilometer array.
We've got Meerkat, which is existing 64-dish array, and Meerkat will then incrementally be integrated into the SKA Mid telescope. So at the end of the day, we will have 197 dishes operating for the Mid telescope. We've been mapping the center of the Milky Way. There's the discovery of 2 new galaxies, which is extremely exciting for the scientists in South Africa, but across the world as well. And there's also these intergalactic balloons that they've discovered hundreds of light years away.
The next phase of this project will cost 40 billion and will create 20,000 jobs.
So to also excite, young kids at school about what science does and the importance of science, hoping that we'll be able to train and recruit future science for that. So this is all very important. And in addition to that, also small business, consciously. The plan is that they must be involved so that they are also able to benefit.
Meerkat, which will be incorporated into SKA Mid, has delivered images of phenomena including stellar nurseries and the chaotic region around the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, some 25,000 light years from Earth. The dishes are designed to connect with each other to form one giant telescope, and with the new additions expected to be operational by 2030.
The World Science Forum was held on African soil for the very first time, and those there say they wanted Africa's spirit of Ubuntu to be a part of the African discussions of science and technology.
The annual Innovation Festival, coined IF Durban, is a celebration of all things innovation. It is a coming together or a gathering of thought leaders, innovation specialists, people who are just interested in making a difference and change within the city, that come together to share information, resources, tools, insights that are valuable in taking our city and our province forward, especially with regards to innovation.
I decided to get involved with Innovate Durban Festival because I thought there was a great opportunity for Durbanites to come together after a long period of COVID, and just an opportunity to come together and understand the business landscape in Durban, and hopefully be able to work together with people to change the status quo.
So our critical interest really is on working with government and ecosystem partners to try and accelerate innovation that is going to make a difference to the lives of the citizens of this country. So primarily our focus is how do we improve citizen experience, citizen engagement by bringing together technology and human ingenuity. And that is what we are good at.
Our idea is creating a product called Irolock, which is a soil retainer. It is 3-dimensional. You can use it in 3 different ways, and then it holds your soil, prevents flooding, prevents soil erosion, and incorporates nature whilst it's doing that. So
we came up with the idea of a flood detection system for high voltage substations that basically protects substations in the event of a flood, and basically before flooding reaches a critical level in the substation, it de-energizes the entire substation so that there's no power flowing through it. And if flooding were to exceed these levels and get into the substation, it's completely safe. And so it de-energizes the substation, and then once flooding subsides again, the system will autonomously re-energize the substation.
So the last 2 years really did a lot of damage to the event space. The Innovation Festival was always held as an in-person event, and over the last 2 years, especially the last year, we had to go completely digital or virtual. And so last year was the first year that we hosted our festival on a completely virtual platform. It's great coming back in person, but I think the beauty of events now is that we can use hybrid platforms.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about artificial intelligence. It is the SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, artificial intelligence is said to be the one thing that's going to take over much of what we do, but machines are not going to be working alone here. They need human elements to assist and to also help when they do some of the work and the repetitive tasks that are sometimes said to be too mundane for humans to do. To understand the skills that are needed by humans in the brand new world is Peter Kromman. He's the head of growth at the Explore AI Academy. Hello and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Peter. Maybe if you start by explaining what some of the skills that young people need the most today.
We've recognized that raw tech talent on its own is not enough. It's not what companies are looking for. There's a whole range of human soft skills that really are required to be able to connect the dots between the technical aspects of your job and then being able to execute well on that and influence others in the process.
What do you think data science or perhaps AI training will do for Africans?
Well, as most of the world moves to a significantly more tech-driven digital future, I believe that Africa, as it turns out, the vast majority of young people in the next coming decades, this is going to unleash a skilled workforce on the world with a set of skills that are in significant demand, leading to all sorts of untapped economic growth that is not online yet.
What are some of the routes that people can take to get that AI or data science training?
I think my answer would be that there isn't necessarily a best route, but I would encourage people to think out the box, that there isn't just one route to acquire these skill sets, as in what perhaps we would have thought of traditionally, which is just going into formal tertiary education. There are so many options nowadays, online, trying to job shadow first, speaking to friends, asking mentors, etc.
Right, and you do have some funding for people to train for free, but what are some of the core skills that you train those young people in?
We have a side curriculum called Thrive, which runs alongside our technical courses and covers everything from communication skills to how to get work done, working in teams, working according to an agile methodology, grit, determination, emotional intelligence. I could go on. All of these things we've found have been significantly determinative in the ability for our students to have better placement rates than most universities see, and for us to get great feedback from our clients shortly after our students have started with them.
We hear that machines are taking over some of the skills that used to be done by humans in the past. Why do you see the need to continue training humans then?
I mean, firstly, I'd really encourage anyone who's kind of come to that realization, and I'll say absolutely these skills could make anyone's job, even if it's a non-technical job, just bringing in some technical elements to it, more efficient, more productive.
Pete, where do these AI and data science skills come in handy? Maybe if you can give us some of the examples from anywhere in the world, really.
Well, in our solutions business, we have a number of significant water and waste clients in the UK, and it's fascinating to see how all the sensor, temperature and surrounding kind of landscape data that's coming back into this company can be used to make far more accurate predictions, around where there are problems in the water to waste network and allocate engineers accordingly in a way that is much less likely to result in damage and water wastage, etc. And then another fascinating example is fiber rollouts in the United States, where we are partnering with one of the big telco providers there, and we are using data science to optimize the route that the fiber laying truck takes, while also at the same time layering on top which customers are most likely to take up fiber. And so, you know, it's kind of the route that will be minimal cost and maximal revenue at the same time. This is what data science is able to help answer.
All right, so Peter Grubman from Explore AI Academy, thank you very much for being a part of our network. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's take a break. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
As a pair of motorcyclists from Ghanaian startup Swoop zipped along across back streets with deliveries last week, a team of software engineers tracked their progress on screen.
Because of the economic pressures, it's driving everybody to be more cash efficient, right? So you have to be very cognizant of how much your customers can afford and what they can do, and build your operations and your product to suit that, right? So even though it's tough times, I think businesses that can survive within this particular time frame will do even better when times get better. And I'm expecting times to get better maybe within 2 or 3 years, right? So at that time, we would have been through the hard times to then benefit of the good times. So I think it has its advantages and disadvantages. They're being shaped by the flames of economic struggles.
Swoop was one of 5 finalists from South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal and Ghana, selected from a pool of more than 500 applicants in last week's annual MEST Africa Challenge, which offers a grand prize of $50,000 in funding, and now in the USA. Rolls-Royce says it is designing a nuclear microreactor, a new classification of reactor that could power NASA's planned base on the moon and provide power, heat and propulsion for any future trip to Mars.
So what we're looking at here is a scale model of our microreactor core system, core technologies. There's a lot of commercial opportunities, but also agencies having aspirations to go to moon, stay there and beyond. But really, in order for everyone to do that, they need power and reliable power. There are power options in space, solar electric being a good opportunity, but there are instances where solar isn't a viable option. It can't deliver you the power that you need for space. So this product that's sat here behind me will enable all of these companies to realise their ambitions in space.
Rolls-Royce says they plan to have a prototype microreactor operating by the end of 2028. The company also said that microreactor designed for space will have considerable use on Earth, including providing heat, power or propulsion in any remote, moving or hostile environment. And now in Japan, spider-like robots could soon be inspecting Japan's sewer pipes in the not-too-distant future. Japanese robotics startup TM Sook announced last month that it has developed the SPD-1 robot made to carry out inspections of Japan's aging sewer systems as the industry grapples with a labor shortage.
SPD-1 はですね、下水道を調査するロボットとして開発しております。主にですね、今車輪型のロボットが使われているんですけども、車輪型だとですね、行けない場所であったりとか調査しづらい場所があったりするので、それを解決するために客式というところで今開発を進めております。
The SPD-1 is currently still a prototype, but TM Sook is planning to put it on the market after April 2024 as a set of around 6 million Japanese yen, which will likely include 3 robots, a controller, and a monitor screen that will allow users to check recorded videos.
With South Africa experiencing load shedding and Apple scaling back on its electric vehicle project, would you get an electric car in South Africa? That's what our Twitter poll has been asking you this week. Here are the results. And And that's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is News Network at sabc.co.za. On email from me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the team. Have a good one. Bye-bye.